guys. Did you miss me? Did you miss me a little bit? Luckily I have a little bit of time to do a little bit of vlogging, and I'm not editing this because for one thing, you guys love it when, apparently, you love it when I don't edit my videos. You like it raw and unedited. It's probably been one of the most complaints that I get is like, don't edit your videos, just keep talking. Alright, so we're gonna do it. Plus, I kind of wanted to tell you guys a creepy little story. I don't think I've shared this before here on YouTube, and if I have, well, I'm repeating myself, but I wanted to go in a little more in depth in this story. I was thinking about it the other night, as I was looking outside, like it's all creepy and like the leaves are all falling off the trees, and you know, Halloween's over, which is super sad. But I'm trying to think, I think about 6 months ago I read this comic series called Witch. And if you haven't read it, or if you're, I mean, even if you're not into comics, it's actually a really good story. Really creepy. I hear they're making a movie based off it, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to give like the story away, but just look it up. The art is pretty spooky, pretty cool. But I read the backstory of the author who wrote it, and I related a lot to it. So his backstory was in one of the issues that I read. Which this is what the Witch is based off of. And it's not about like, you know, your cliche witches. It's more like, I would say, I would resemble it to like folklore kind of, but it's something that he imagined himself. So him and I believe his brother, when they were younger, would go and explore this like forest area, and they would find like, I think they would find like an abandoned car out there, and they would just go and explore and, you know, make up stories, and you know, like little kids do. And they would, you know, when it would get closer to dusk, the trees, like, it would give off a shadow where, you know, the branches, they would look like hands. And he envisioned them like, what if that was actually real? What if they actually came to life? And that's what the witches, or the witch is in the series, is these tree shadows where they just look like the tree branches look like hands and faces, but it's actually like a creature hiding, like camouflage in the trees, you know. Does that make sense? And that really hit close to home, because in the house that me and my brother grew up in, just down the street was this like nature trail, and it used to be like I don't know how I would even describe it. It's basically like this huge ass lot. There's these two ponds, right? Two ponds, and it's right next to the river. And the ponds are man-made ponds. They were actually dug out for like gravel, and on the other side of the property is like, I don't even know what company this was. I still don't know. I should know. I'm an adult. I don't know. But they actually used the gravel for like construction and all that stuff. So this was actually not supposed to be open to the public, but now, because they don't use it anymore, it's turned into ponds. Nature's taken over. Really pretty trails that just go all over. And back when me and my brother were little, my mom would take us out here and explore. And we would go so far out, like way past like the trails that people were allowed, to where like, it was not like that you weren't allowed out in this part of the area, it just wasn't marked. And eventually they did fence it off, so you can't go back there anymore without hopping over a barbed wire fence. But we would go and explore all the time. And my mom would take us out to this really far corner. So like, you have the river, and then you have these two ponds, and we would walk on this trail. So basically, normally you would follow, just to walk a normal trail, you could walk around one pond, in between both of them, but around one. But there's these little deer trails that eventually turned into like where people would just keep going. And we went even farther past that to like this corner where we're on the embankment, and there was like this house structure. And then we found a lawnmower in it that was just completely, you know, destroyed. And we would find like all kinds of like old cans, old stuff. And then there's this area where it's like as if they had dug out for gravel, but it didn't turn into a pond. It was like, I think high, I don't know why it didn't turn into a pond. I don't know. However, in the wintertime it would flood But in the summer, if you went and explored, there's this old fire truck front, like old school, and it's small, so I don't even know what kind of fire truck it was. It was like just small, but you knew it was a fire truck because it was red, and it had something on the outside of it that said fire something. Could have just been like a fire crew little truck, but it was super old, probably from like the 40s or the 50s or 30s, somewhere between there. I'm probably gonna say 40s or 50s. And we used to explore the shit out of that area. And like the car had its windows still intact, and it had a steering wheel, and then there was an old beer can, super old. I think it was Budweiser, super old, lodged, like stuck in the door, somewhere around the door, so you could never get it out. But it was like a little step back in time, and every summer we would go and explore it, and it would always be the same, and we always would stay where it would get close to dusk. And this is when, like, you would think you would see things walking back, because we would stay till so late because we're exploring, and then we're trying to see how far we can go without stepping onto that other, like, the construction company's property, you know, because there was a barrier at one point, at least, that led to what was active. So we would like just kind of test our limits and see how far we could go. And there was even points where we went so far where there was this like little dumping area, and we would find like old sinks and like they're old, like super old, like porcelain sinks, porcelain, like no tubs, but just like big sinks that, like, I don't even know where they would have come from. And there's like nothing around unless there was a house out there. We're not really sure. But then one time we were exploring, and we went in this one little area, and it was like, it took us a while to find it again, because when we found it, we're like, okay, remember where we are, because we, you know, it was getting close to dark, and we wanted to come back during the day. And I remember the couple times after that, we couldn't find it the second time, and it took us a couple times to actually find it, but we found a car, and I remember finding the emblem on the car of what it was, and I googled it, and it's a car from the 60s. I don't remember what kind of car it was. Don't ask. I don't remember. I just know it was some cute little old car from the 60s. It was like a 65 or 64 something. I don't know. Little car. Cute little car. But it was upside down, and I remember, like, we're looking at it, and it had like all the knobs, and like just really cool, you know. Just, I don't know, we're like, why is this car here? Where did it come from? Is there a dead body in it? No. But we would explore just everywhere around this place, and every time we were done exploring and walking back, it was always, we could never beat the sun going down. We could never make it back to like the main road where we could walk home. Or sometimes my mom would drive and park, and we could just never make it. We were chasing daylight. And every time, like, my mom's brave, my brother's brave, my brother, I don't think I just said mother. My mom and my brother are both brave. I'm a little more chicken and a little more skittish. But I swear, even as, you know, an adult, to the last time that I was even around that area, and even by yourself during the day, you feel like you're being watched, and nothing ever happens, ever. But you walk around there, and you just feel like the trees are watching you. You feel like you hear a noise, and you're like, logically, you're like, that might have been an animal, but something in your gut tells you it's not. There's something super spooky about that area. However, we always kept going. But walking back when it would be dusk, like, you'd be power walking back because you just feel like the darkness is chasing you, if that makes sense. And we would all feel it. My mom is just more like, oh, it's fine, but like, she's like, let's get back to the car. But she's like, oh, we're fine. And my brother's like, we're fine. We're totally fine. My brother probably gets more of an adrenaline fun rush out of it, and I'm just like, I want to be home. I want to be home. I want to be home. But we would still go back every time. But with this comic series, like, reading that backstory, it was like, I can relate so much to seeing things in the darkness, in the trees, feeling like something's following you. If you don't get out soon enough, it's gonna get you. In this area, I remember one of the last times I walked around there, because even when I got, as an adult, I would wake up early every morning and go on walks, and I would walk down the street through the neighborhood to that nature trail area, and I would always do the loop. Sometimes it got to a point where I would walk up to the entrance, and it felt like there was a wall of terror, and I had to turn around and just go back home. I couldn't walk the nature trail. And sometimes I would go and I could walk in and maybe walk right up to the pond, and then I'm like, something doesn't feel right, and I would turn around and walk back. It was just weird, which I'm like, always go with your gut. Even if like I've explored this place so many, I know it by heart. I could draw a map of every crevice of this place, because my mom and my brother explored it so much. I know where everything is. Still, like, if I were to even go back now, I wouldn't go alone. And there were times where I actually was like, I'm gonna push. Let's ignore my gut and let's just go. And I would go and I would walk around the pond. It was like the worst feeling ever. Like, I was doing wrong. I was like, I'm gonna regret this. Something bad is gonna happen. And I would make it around, and I would like, as soon as I would make it around like the other side of the pond, I'm like power walking. I'm like, something does not feel right. And nothing ever happened. But I still felt that it was a horrible feeling. It wasn't like when I like got back to the main road where I was like, oh, I did it. It wasn't that bad. It was like, I still feel like I did something wrong. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done that, where you push your limits with something scary like that, but you still feel like you're doing something wrong and it doesn't make it better. Have any of you guys ever felt that way? And that was the last time I ever did that. Usually, like, if I go, I would walk one side and then walk back. I would never walk, it's interesting now that I think about it, I would never walk to the right side of the pond. I would always walk the left. The left was the most comfortable. I had my own little secret spots out there too. I would walk down this one embankment, and in the summertime it wasn't flooded, but there's this tree that had created like a little bridge, and I would sit over the river on that tree and just like hang out. Sometimes I'd bring my iPod and I would listen to music, or I would bring a notebook and draw or write. That was my spot for a long time. And it was always perfect at the end of summer, but beginning of fall, kind of, because the leaves hadn't fallen off the tree yet, so I was hidden. If it was after that, before like the water level would rise, like before that, if all the leaves were off and the water level was still low, if I still went there, people would walk by and see me, and then they would see my spot, And so I always made sure to never go down there when it was exposed. It always makes me wonder what it looks like now. It's literally been like 6 years since I've been there. But I used to run away there a lot. Because I think it was 2009, my mom and my parents split. And so my mom left, and I was like alone a lot of the times, so that's where I would go to just get away from the world. And I would sit on that tree over that river. It was just so quiet, so peaceful. I would just see animals, see birds, see fish, and but that was always on the left side of the pond area and the river. So the river, huge ass trail, pond, and then the other pond was further up. And there's a few other little man-made ponds if you keep going, but I would never keep going by myself. Even though, like, I think about it, I'm like, man, you want to get even more secluded? Just keep going. Like, I could go where that freaking fire truck is and just hang out there, but I don't know, something about it didn't seem safe, We never found evidence of people staying there ever. Never found evidence of squatters, nothing. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I always wanted to know what I was afraid of. What was scary? Just the idea? Or was there actually... It was just something giving off that weird vibe of scary, of being watched. And I've read, like, many, like, little quotes and little tidbit articles about, like, when you feel like you're being watched, it's your instinct telling you that you actually really are. Like, it's your instinct. something is actually watching you. Maybe it was like, could have been like a mountain lion stalking me, could have been a coyote, could have been, we don't have bears there, but you know, who knows? It could have been a person. I don't know. There could have been someone living there the whole time. We didn't even know about it. Even, and maybe they were so like far out secluded that they didn't leave anything behind, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they had a camp in the ground. I don't know. But still, no other trail freaked me out as much as that one. And I mean, back in my hometown is Redding, California, and it's even more dangerous now than ever to go anywhere by yourself. But when I would go places by myself, that was the one place that was so hard for me to go by myself, even though like the more dangerous trails are like in the city, and I was like out in like more country or area. It's just interesting that. But you know, and even I remember my mom would walk there by herself a lot, and some of the neighbors like down the street, they would worry for her safety. We never like saw any evidence of creepy people going in and out. People used to just go there and fish. I mean, it was really like the perfect spot to like hang out and just chill, but something freaked everyone out there, and no one ever knows why. Who knows, maybe something happened there that I'm unaware of, but there's been many times where I looked it up on Google Maps and kind of like reminisce, you know. Who knows, maybe I'll go back one day. But yeah, something about it, you know, during the day it was creepy by yourself. Something about in the night when it was getting dark. Oh, I just had a memory. One time, I believe, who was I with? It could have been my mom and my brother. I'm trying to think, because I used to take when me and my husband were dating, I used to take him down there and we would walk there all the time. And I was always freaked out. Still, with someone, I was always freaked out by nothing. But there was one time, I think it was me, my brother, and my mom, and it was dark. We had just we were done exploring. I think I was probably in junior high, so probably like 12, 13. I want to say 13 or 14. I don't think I was older than that, but we're walking back on the right side, the side I don't like. Walking back on that side, which was always darker. There was more tree cover on that side. It's more open on the left side of the pond. But we're walking on the right side back to like where we parked, and there's a freaking car driving, like a truck driving on the trail, and we're like in the headlights. Like, we're freaked out. I don't even remember. I think they just turned down because there's all kinds of like side trails, and they turned and drove down a little bit further, and then they stopped, and then they turned off their lights, and we like walked by, and we like power walked, because someone didn't say, like, we don't even know how a car could even get back there. Like, they had to have taken like, I don't know, I'm trying to even think what trail they had to have taken in order to bring a vehicle back there, because the main entrance is this huge ass gate that's like, you'd need a key to get through it, and you couldn't even, if you ran your car through it, there's no way. It's like one of those big thick barred metal gates, you know, where like it all opens if you were to, I'm not describing things great, and I'm not gonna edit this, so good luck understanding my language. But it's those big like utility type, like big barred gates. I don't know, I'm gonna stop now. And any other entrance into the place is the same, like these big heavy duty gates. So, and I think based off of one time I took a way back way into that area, and it was like you had to go through where like the construction company is, like their side road, and I think there was a way to get in, but they didn't come from that way. They came from like, either they had driven around the left side and then were driving, I don't know, but it was just weird that they pulled in to an area where they could keep going, and then there's a huge open field back there. Like, they could have kept going, but they stopped in the middle of that side trail and just sat there with their lights off in a big old truck. It was like, I'm trying to think what kind of truck, just to set the scene, you know, like, this might sound cheesy, but like the truck in Twilight, like Bella's truck. I'm just that kind of truck, like old, like from the 70s, you know, 70, 75, I don't know, or even 60s, I don't know, just old, dented, and it was like a dark, had to have been a dark color, because you couldn't really, yeah, anyways, but we power walked past that, because they didn't get out of the car, that I remember. I don't think they did, but we power walked past that, because that was weird, and that was something we're not used to. We're used to, like, trying to, you know, beat the sun going down, and being creeped out by, like, things crackling in the trees, or, like, things looking like things that they're not, and there's been times where we've had to run away from skunks, and vultures. One time my mom was almost attacked by a vulture there. Weird stuff. But yeah, the only thing I can really think of, like, to describe that place is, like, it was, like, in the trees. Like, they would just give off this dark, ominous, creepy, I'm watching you vibe. Yeah, but kind of wanted to bring that up. It's been on my mind a lot lately, and I don't know why. It's just interesting. It makes me want to go back, like, the next time I visit. I almost want to go back and see how I feel. But do any of you had a place like this before? Like, where you, even if you push yourself to go, like I did, and you still regret it in the end? Like, I'm curious. Like, is it all in my head? Because I like to try to think logically. Sometimes it's like my gut isn't really logical, if that makes any sense. So let's discuss this. Let me know in the comments down below if you can relate, or what do you think the dark feeling following you or watching you is? Like, what do you think? Like, I don't know the history of this land. I don't know where that fire truck came from. I don't know why there was a little house thingy with a little old lawnmower in it by the river. I don't know why there's a car upside down in the middle of the forest. You know, it's like all those random things. And like I'm just remembering, like, we spent so much time there. Like, my brother used to make short films, and we would go out there and shoot short films, and there were times where we would go there in the middle of the night. Why? I don't know. We would go there in the middle of the night, and, like, we would hear things, like, I don't know, they didn't sound, they were probably animals, but still, like, we would be so freaked out, or I would, to the point where I was like, something doesn't feel right at all, and I don't know if it's human or animal related, but, like, we spent so much time there. I don't know, but let's discuss this down below. I didn't mean to do a thumbs down. Thumbs this up. But let's discuss this down below in the comments. And also, feel free to follow me on all of the things, because when I'm not here, I'm, like, on every other social media thing, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, Snapchat. I'm Lady Luck's Life everywhere. So look me up, snap me something, like one of my pictures on Instagram. I don't know, tweet me, just something, you know. I actually did a Periscope the other day, exploring an abandoned house that I've already explored a million times. I don't think it's available to watch anymore on Periscope, but yeah. But I'll be posting pictures of the abandoned exploration, though, on my Facebook and my Instagram. So follow me on all the things, and I love you guys, and I'll probably be doing another video soon, because I got a spooky box in the mail, and I know you guys want to watch me do that. So I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!